to the next topic. Our next chapter is chapter 7, Conservation of Plants and Animals. In this particular chapter, let us learn about our nature and how we removed our forest, that is deforestation, and what are the causes of deforestation and what are its consequences, and what forced for the development of conservation methods, and also learn about endemic species, endangered species, extinct species, and so on in this particular lesson. See, we know that removal of the forests by cutting the trees is known as deforestation. Deforestation is nothing but the removal of forest cover by human beings by cutting the trees for different needs. That is called deforestation. Now let us see what are the causes why the man is cutting the trees and what are the causes of deforestation. The major causes for deforestation are for the construction of buildings, for making roads and rails, and for agricultural needs, for making furniture, and for fuels, and for developing different types of industries, and some are removing the forest for quarrying. So these are the different causes of deforestation. Now, what happens or what are the consequences of deforestation? See, when we remove the forest, there is the chances for increasing the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. That leads to increase the atmospheric temperature because carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas. If there are sufficient number of trees are there, this carbon dioxide will be utilized by these green plants for photosynthesis. But when you cut the forest, when we remove the forest, the carbon dioxide level in the atmosphere increases and that leads to increase of atmospheric temperature. See, you know that, see, the roots are responsible for holding the soil. But when you remove the forest, that soil holding capacity will be lost and there is chances for soil erosion. And when this eroded soil are carried away to the rivers, it will be deposited in the river and that leads to decrease the depth of the river and that may result in unprecedented floods. Because of the removal of forest, landslide occurs. You know the recent landslides in nearby areas during the rainy season. See, one of the reasons is that the deforestation and quarrying. See, because of deforestation, the rainfall reduces. Once the rainfall is reduced, that leads to decrease in the groundwater level. That leads to water scarcity. When there is scarcity for water, the plants started wilting and the land will dry and that condition we call as drought. And when there is no rain for continuous seasons and the drought continuously happens, what happens? That leads to desertification, that is desert formations. Because of deforestation, there is loss their habitats. And now many species are under threat of extinction or many species are extinct due to deforestation. Therefore, deforestation leads to increasing temperature, soil erosion, flood, landslides, decreasing groundwater level, reduction in the rainfall, water scarcity, drought, desertification, and the loss of habitat and extinction of species. So, From this, what you can understand? You can understand that we must reduce deforestation, or we must stop cutting trees, and it's a time for conserving the plants and animals. The plants are called the flora and the animals are known as the fauna, and the flora and fauna need to be conserved, otherwise there will be loss of ecosystem, loss of habitats, there will be environmental degradation, and there will be extinction of large number of species. That's why it compels us to conserve the plants and animals. How we can conserve? We can conserve by developing wildlife sanctuaries, national parks, biosphere reserves, and zoos. Okay, wildlife sanctuaries, national park, and biosphere reserve, and of course zoos are the means for conserving large number of plants and animals. Now let us see what do you mean by wildlife sanctuary. Okay, wildlife sanctuary. See, wildlife sanctuary, wildlife indicates the fauna or the wild animals. See, many wild animals are under the threat of extinction, or some of the animals are already lost their habitats. Therefore, the wild animals are to be protected in their natural habitat. Okay. Therefore, wildlife sanctuaries are the places where the wildlife or the wild animals are protected in their natural forest or natural habitats, and there the poaching and capturing of animals are completely banned, and if anybody goes for poaching or hunting, they will be captured under cuts. So the area for the forest where the wild animals are protected is known as wildlife sanctuary, where poaching or capturing of animals are completely banned. Some of the examples are Kenya Wildlife Sanctuaries, Satpura Sanctuary, Mudumalai Sanctuary, Gauri. All these are different wildlife sanctuaries. Now let us see about national park. See, national parks are a larger area. It's larger than wildlife sanctuaries, where the animals, that is the fauna, the flora, as well as the tribals and the historic symbols or the historic objects of that particular area are protected. National park includes large number of ecosystem. Okay, a national park includes grassland, forest, there will be huge lakes in between. Okay, therefore a national park is a larger area, it's bigger than wildlife sanctuary, where not only the wild animals but the flora, the tribal people who are residing inside the area, as well as some of the historic symbols are protected. The entry of public are restricted to these areas. The poaching and capturing of animals are completely prohibited in these areas. Satpura National Park, Iravikulam National Park, then Mukkuruthi National Park. Okay, then nearby another national park, that is Bandipur National Park, are some of the examples for national parks of our country. See, in some of the national parks and wildlife sanctuaries, the government of India launched a special programs to protect the tigers, the Indian tigers. Why? Because Indian tiger is one of the endangered species. This particular species of Indian tigers are lesser in number. Therefore, the government of India launched a program in the year 1973 April in order to protect the tigers and to increase their population. That project is known as Project Tiger. Okay. This Project Tiger program flora are protected is known as the biosphere reserve. Biosphere reserve is a very huge area. It's a very large area that includes large number of sanctuaries and different national parks where the wildlife, the fauna, the flora, the tribal and their culture and historic symbols are preserved, protected and conserved. Okay, biodiversity is conserved in biosphere reserve. What do you mean by biodiversity? The presence of diverse form of flora and fauna in an area is known as biodiversity. Therefore, biosphere reserve is a place where biodiversity are maintained properly. Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve is a huge area that includes large number of wildlife sanctuaries like Muttanga Wildlife Sanctuary, Mudumalai Wildlife Sanctuary, Thekadi, Iravikulam, as well as different national parks like Bandipur National Park, okay, the Silent Valley, okay, Mukkuruthi National Parks. Okay, therefore, biosphere reserves are a huge area that includes large number of wildlife sanctuaries and national parks where the tribal are protected, where the tribal culture is protected, their historic symbols are protected, and the flora, fauna, endangered species are completely protected. And this is an area where poaching, hunting is completely prohibited. Okay. Then another biosphere reserve is Pachimari Biosphere Reserve, the Himalayan Biosphere Reserve. All these are different biosphere reserve that includes large number of wildlife sanctuaries and see, when I am speaking about biodiversity, I want to tell you about what is a biodiversity hotspot. Though it is not there in your textbook, you must understand biodiversity hotspot. Biodiversity hotspot is a very biologically significant geographical area. That area includes different types of plants and animals. Different types of plants and animals. And these areas are very endemic to certain plants and animals. The biodiversity hotspot is an area where only certain species are available. Those species are not available in anywhere. But there minimum 70% of their original habitat were destroyed by human beings. Though the biodiversity hotspot is supporting more than 15,000 plant species, about 90% of their natural habitat are completely disturbed and they are facing the threat of extinction. Many species are facing the threat of extinction. Okay, so biodiversity hotspot is a biodiversity area which is very sensitive area that support more than 15,000 of species which are endemic to that area. But out of this 15,000 species, 90 to 95% of species are facing threat of extinction and about 70% of their original habitats are lost. Such a significant place is known as biodiversity hotspot. Okay, our Western Ghat is also comes under a biodiversity hotspot, which is this place is endemic to large number of species which are found only in this Western Ghats area, but most of the species are now listed in the Red Data Book of Endangered Species. Okay, so what is the biodiversity hotspot? Biodiversity hotspot (BDH) is a geographical area which is rich in biodiversity, having more than 15,000 of species of plants which are endemic, which are found only in that area. But out of the 15,000 of species which are endemic, 90 to 95% biodiversity support 60% of different plants and animals, but out of those 70% of those species lost their habitat. So such a biodiverse geographical area is known as biodiversity hotspot. Okay, this is very important for various competitive examinations as well. So study well. Now, what are endemic species? You know that certain species are not found everywhere. Say for example, I will tell you kangaroo. Kangaroo is found only in Australia. The emu is found only in New Zealand. The Indian tiger, the Indian elephants are found only in the subcontinent. So the species which are restricted only to certain area are called the endemic species. Okay, endemic species are the species which are restricted or which are found only in certain places. Such species are called endemic species. Say for example, sal, wild mango are endemic to Pachmari biosphere reserve. Sal and wild mango both are the endemic flora of Pachmari biosphere reserve. Similarly, the giant squirrel and the flying squirrel are the two endemic fauna of Pachmari biosphere reserve. Okay, giant squirrel and flying squirrel are endemic to Pachmari, they are fauna, whereas sal and wild mango are the two endemic flora belonging to the Pachmari biosphere reserve. Now, let us study about endangered species and extinct species. Before discussing about endangered and extinct species, let us know about species. What are species actually? See, species is a term that indicates a group of population that possess common characteristic features and which are capable of interbreeding only among themselves. So a group of population which possess certain common features and which are capable of interbreeding only with species of their own is known as a species. So species is a population that can interbreed only among themselves. Say for example, mango. The species is Mangifera indica. Shoe flower, hibiscus, Rosa sinensis, and lady's finger, Hibiscus esculentus. See here, though both shoe flower and lady's finger comes under same genus Hibiscus, but their species are different. The species of shoe flower is Hibiscus Rosa sinensis. Rosa sinensis is the species, whereas in case of lady's finger, the specific name is Esculentus. So there are two species. Hibiscus Rosa sinensis can breed only with Rosa sinensis, or the Esculentus can breed only with Esculentus. So a group of population which share some common features and that can breed only among themselves is known as a species. Now let us study about extinct species and endangered species. Okay, endangered and extinct species. See, some of the species are very less in number. They lost their habitats because of human interaction or human interference. So the species which are less in number and that face the threat of extinction are called endangered species. Okay, the species which are lesser in number and they are facing the threat of extinction is known as endangered species. Example, wild buffalo. Okay, they are very less in number. Indian tiger, lion, Indian elephant, Barasinga, all these are endangered species. They are lesser in number. If we are not conserving them, if we are not preserving them and protecting them, soon they will be extinct. So, those species which are facing the threat of extinction are called endangered species. Now let us know what is extinct species. Extinct means already vanished, already exhausted. So those species which are already extinct or vanished from the earth's surface are called extinct species. They are no more available. Okay, example dinosaur and dodo. These are extinct species of fauna. See, there is a book called Red Data Book. Red Data Book is a source which tells us, which helps us to know the list of endangered species of plants and animals of our planet. So what is the Red Data Book? Red Data Book is a source book which gives us the information about the endangered plants and animals. Okay. See, nowadays you might have seen that some of the species of birds are moving from one place to another place. So the movement of organism from their natural habitat to some other places in search of habitat, that means shelter, or in search of food, or in search of their opposite sex, or in order to escape from the bad weather is known as migration. So migration is a process of movement of organism from their natural habitat to some other places. Okay, in search of shelter, food, or to escape from bad weather is known as migration. Nowadays, because of habitat destruction, because of deforestation, many organisms are migrating. Even the organisms are coming out to the public places and they are attacking the people because the human beings are destroying the natural habitats of many flora and fauna. Especially the animals are coming out, the wild animals are coming out. Okay. Now we are going to discuss about the importance of recycling of paper. Children, see the paper which we are reading, the newspaper, or the paper we are writing, or our textbook, or our examination sheet, all this paper we are getting from the pulp which is derived from the plants. If we need to make 1 ton of paper, we need to cut at least 17 full-grown trees. At least 17 full-grown trees need to be removed in order to make 1 ton of paper. That means, if you are wasting a single sheet of paper, you are simply tearing the paper and throwing out. It's nothing but okay. Therefore, what we have to do? We have to conserve paper. We have to judiciously use the paper. We have to use both the side of the notebook. If there are some pages are available in our old book, that has to be made it as a new note. Okay, you can take the paper and you can attach together and you can write rough work on that papers. Don't waste the paper. Don't simply throw out the papers. Use both the side of the papers. Okay, and write on slate. Okay, for preparing for examination and all, you can write on the slate so that you can save the paper. And after completely using all this notebook or whatever it may be, don't throw it out. Give it for recycling. Okay, these papers can be recycled and it can be used once again. Therefore, we should not waste the paper. Wasting of paper or destroying the paper is equivalent to cutting of trees. Okay. And coming to the last part of this lesson, reforestation and afforestation. What is reforestation? Reforestation means the process of restocking or replanting the already deforested area. Okay, many area we already destroyed. Or such area we have to select and we have to replant and restock the plant. So the process of restocking or replanting the already deforested area is known as reforestation. And afforestation is also nothing but the development of forests wherever the vacant areas are available. In those areas we must plant trees. We have to plant as many trees as possible, and we have to see that all these planted saplings are growing up completely. So, being an active citizen, being a responsible student, we must actively participate in the afforestation and deforestation process. We have to protect our nature. We have to take care of the wild animals. We have to take care of the flora and fauna. And we have to preserve our nature. Otherwise, we have to face very, very drastic consequences as I therefore, let us participate in protecting our nature and conserving our environment. There are strict laws such as Forest Conservation Act, Prevention of Environmental Pollution Act, and prevention of poaching of animals and killing of wild animals, and there are different acts which are prevalent in our country. If anybody is indulging in such practices, and destruction process will be taken away and they are kept under custody. They will put in jail. Therefore, we should practice good practices like protecting our nature. Let us wholeheartedly participate in awareness program, and we have to participate in the programs like reforestation and afforestation and Vana Mahotsav. Let us protect our environment and be a model students, model citizen for our country. Okay, thank you.